Hey everybody, Josh Brown here, managing editor with Fisher's Magazine, and I'm at Fisher's Fire Station today with Lieutenant Brandon Anderson. We're just chatting. Brandon, thanks for taking some time to talk with us today.
No
For those of you who don't know Brandon's story, I'm sure you've probably heard it by now. I heard Brandon's story at the Fisher's Disability Awareness Kickoff event last month, beginning of March. You spoke kind of in full about your story, it's incredible. Maybe just talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you had the motorcycle accident August of 2016. Maybe just take us a little bit through that day, those emotions and what that was like, and to where you are now today, kind of reflecting back.
Yeah, I guess just real quickly, without recapping the whole thing, started out just kind of a weekend getaway.
Sure.
Some time away from the job to enjoy with friends. We're just going to be some buddies I grew up with, take a motorcycle ride, hang out at the lake for the weekend, and enjoy some time together. Everybody's got crazy busy lives, and just trying to catch up and hang out a little bit. That was ended very early. Within 45 minutes of leaving home with a motorcycle accident, and ultimately ended up 2 hours away from home in level 1 trauma center in Louisville.
Right.
Spent a month there trying to recuperate, ultimately ending in my amputation of my right leg above the knee. So kind of those emotions through that day. Starting off on just a happy normal day, just to something that you hope never happens, or you never have to deal with. And
right.
I've seen it on this side of the job. For other people, you just never expect yourself to be on the other side of the coin. So in the blink of an eye, I was on the other side of that coin. I was the one in need of help, and that put me in a bad spot, because that's
right.
not, I'm not the one to ask for help or feel like I need it. Not that that's a bad thing, but I like to be on the other side. I like to be able to, in that bad spot, be able to help somebody else out and try to make something a little bit better for their life.
Right.
So, I reached that point where I had to accept that from other people, and throughout the whole process, since the accident, that was one of the big things that I had to struggle with, and be able to accept the fact that I had to help. I had to receive the help from other people.
Sure.
I had to not only my family, but the friends and stuff like the guys at the firehouse and other friends and family. That was hard to receive,
So.
And sometimes you just have to swallow your pride and do it,
Right.
and wait till you get back to where I'm at today. I'm back to a point today where I can be the person helping.
Sure.
I'm back to full duty. Have been since the end of June last year. So it's great to be back in that position, be able to help people in any way that I can. This week going on right now in Indianapolis is FDIC, our Fire Department Instructors Conference, going on.
Right.
So last year I was not able to really take part in any of that activity that's going on, where in this year I've been able to be out for the last 2 days helping train other firefighters from
Sure.
across the country and other countries. So, to look back on that and to be in a position last year where I just had to look from afar, and this year I'm back to where I'm right in the middle of it again. I'm
right.
able to be out there. I'm able to be on my truck every day. I'm able to do everything I did in the past.
Right.
Back to this time last year, my boys are active in sports and stuff, and,
Sure.
and for right now, they both are playing golf for their school. So last year I was having to get a cart and drive around and follow
Right.
them, and now I can show up at the match, and I can walk the course with them.
Awesome.
I don't have to do that. So looking back on that emotion was swallowing that pride of, what, I'm gonna have to use that cart. I'm gonna have to use that
Right.
walker, that cane. Those hard things that you hope you're never put in that position. You just have to swallow your pride
Sure.
and accept it and move on with it in order to get back to where I'm at today.
Yeah. Well, and talk a little bit about that support group, because obviously, like you mentioned, it's hard to be helped when you're in a career where you're throwing yourself in and helping people so much, right? Talk about how much family, your brothers here at the fire station, the support was in that journey looking back now, and just how family and friends were able to help you get through that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty close-knit family, and I have, what I would consider lots of friends. So friends and family, and obviously all the brothers and sisters I work with in the fire service, and even the ones that don't work here. The surrounding departments,
Sure.
The guys from Noblesville, Carmel, Westville. All of that support. Indianapolis. I mean, the other departments around us, and then even people from other departments in states far away that I didn't even know that I would get a phone call from or get a note from or whatever. But having these guys here that really supported me from day one, they weren't going to allow me to give up.
Sure.
And that's not my demeanor either. As I look back on that, when I had to make those hard decisions, there was, for my wife and the rest of my family and everything, there was, our faith played a huge role in that. And we could have sulked and been angry. And, of course, we went through those phases of that and asking
Right.
those questions of why, and why's this happened to me, and why's this happened to our family? What have we done to put this? And, we really fell back onto the fact of our faith and that, there's a path put before us, and you have that choice at that point in time to accept what's put in front of you, accept the support that you have from your family and your friends, and move on with that, and see, kind of what God's put in our path for our lives, and through the tragedy that I've been through, and the friendships and the bonds that I've made only because of that. I wouldn't trade those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's built us up and helped carry us through, by meeting those people that have just reached out, and those good deeds of those people carrying us through, and the brothers here at the firehouse, willing to get out and train with me, and willing to help me learn a new way to do things. And the fact that the support that they gave to my family while I was in the hospital and while I was recovering, and making sure that my boys had everything that they needed, and that they offers to run them from practices or bringing meals to the house to, as we were chasing doctor's appointments and so forth. It was a struggle even once we got home. So that continued support from them once we got home was a key point in us moving forward, and not kind of falling behind and sulking in our own sorrows.
Right. Well, and the faith part of it's so interesting because, when you're thrown into something like that, it's easy to kind of fall into that lie that God isn't good, right?
Right.
Because this has happened to me. And your story is so incredible because it's not only is it a story of perseverance, but of your faith coming through and showing, no, God is good, and I'm going to get through this because He's going to help me through it, and I've got my family. When you think about the perseverance side of it, obviously it's drawn out a lot of inspiration for others around you. We were just talking a minute ago. You've had not only firefighters, but even other maybe amputees and people who have had similar experiences reach out for just advice or guidance. Thomas Crafton, one of the firefighters here now, obviously is someone that you've mentored and even was inspired to kind of join you guys, seeing your story and hearing about your story. So maybe even just talk a little bit about the inspiration side of it, and just how you've even been able to enter a mentorship role and just share your testimony and your story with people.
Yeah, and that's been good for me to be able to share it. People ask, are you tired of talking about it?
Right.
I don't feel like it's a burden to talk about it. There's times when it's hard, and there's times when I don't want to talk about it. But I feel like if the trials that I've been through with tragedy, and the way that I've been able to handle it and get through it, some people may not have that mindset in the beginning. And if I can share what I've done and how I've kind of accepted it, and where my where my thoughts were throughout the process of the fact, I'm not going to have anything put in front of me that I can't handle, with keeping my faith and knowing that it's put before me for a reason, and if I can overcome that, then I'm not only working towards something better for myself, but I'm showing my children, for one, and other people, that you don't have to just stop because of a bad tragedy. You can move forward. So, and that was some advice I got early on from another firefighter that called me, who was a below-the-knee amputee and been back on the job. One of his comments to me was, we asked him, if I wanted to go back to the job, and I said absolutely. That was one of my decisions in amputating, was to make sure that I had, the physical ability to go back. And he said, well, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a long road, but don't take no for an answer. So that's how we tackled it. It was something new. And so having that support and mentorship from some of those guys kind of inspired me to be able to share my story and to continue to do that today. Not only with some other firefighters like Thomas that's here on our department today, but to be able to share with, there's been a couple of other firefighters across the country that I've spoke with that are fighting the battle from injuries, some the same type of injury, some a little bit different. We've been able to kind of network and share our stories with each other and help each other through different, whether it be mentally or physically, because everyone handles and processes things at a different pace, different rate, different thought process. So if they're not in the same physical or mental capacity, then we need to work together and make sure that they can overcome that obstacle and keep moving forward. Whether it is to come back to this job or whether it's to come back to whatever kind of job you have, it's about overcoming that obstacle in front of you. And my mentality is not to just lay down when there's an obstacle there. It's I may not get over it the first time, but I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And if I can share with those people to help get over that, then that's part of what this process is in my life, is to be able to do that. So reaching out to those individuals or those people reaching out to me and asking for advice of how did you handle this, or just that unknown. The fear of the unknown is what I've realized is a lot of the for some of the people going through just the amputation phase. And it can be with other obstacles in your life, not just amputation, but some of that unknown of how long am I going to have to deal with a certain phase of it, or how long is it going to be before I can actually walk again. And having that fear in front of you that's just that unknown, kind of talking them through it and telling them kind of a timeline that I did mine, and what to expect, eases their mind to keep moving forward.
Sure. Well, and all told, looking back on your journey, when you think about that day and you think about the accident and looking back now, just how far you've come, how do you reflect on that? I'm sure there's emotions that come up. There's got to be times when you look back, I've come a long way, right? So how do you reflect back on that now?
I do look back, and I do think, just like I was saying earlier, last year, at this point last year, I could kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because I made it back to full duty June 26th last year was my first day back. And so looking back, and I kind of stop and think once in a while of, and last year at this time I was going to therapy, for 3 days a week, and I was, trying to figure out how I was going to get in my gear. I was trying to, still do stuff at home a little bit differently. I had to have my wife help me do certain things, or my boys help me do certain things. So, it is, looking back on that, it's rewarding to see that, that obstacle was put in front of me and I was able to overcome that. But I was only able to do that by keeping, a good attitude about it, and not sulking and just saying, laying down and, oh, well, woe was me. It was, I was put here to beat this obstacle.
Sure.
Have faith in yourself. Have that faith in God that path is there for you in the first place. But keeping faith about your own abilities to do things in life, your own ability to move forward. By just laying down and not working hard and not moving forward, you're not helping anyone else around you.
Right.
So to keep that positive attitude and to keep working hard, even if there's another obstacle thrown in front of you, because sometimes you don't always see all of it. You kind of see that hurdle in front of you and you make it over it, but then you realize, oh no, there's another one on the other side. And that can really set you back sometimes.
Right.
But just trying to keep that positive attitude and the drive to keep going, and having that support from everyone around you to keep going really helps.
Sure.
If you don't have that support group around you to keep a positive move forward, then it's hard for you to do that on your own. So I've been very fortunate to have that positive encouragement from everyone around me, and the acceptance of, you can do this, and it's not an option to stop.
Sure. Well, and looking back too, even those who've maybe reached out to you for advice or guidance, maybe what's the biggest lesson you've learned through this journey, or what's the biggest piece of advice that you give them?
It's kind of that what was shared with me of not taking no for an answer,
right.
And just the kind of never give up attitude. You may not be able to do everything exactly like you did before, but when that obstacle, whatever it may be in your life that's thrown in front of you, it's thrown in front of you to maybe challenge you a little bit.
Sure.
And challenge you to be the person that was created, and that you have the ability to move forward. It's whether or not you want to choose that right path,
right.
To either give up or work for it. So nothing is ever just handed to you. So it's handed, it's put out there in front of you, and it's up to you to make that choice to be positive, move forward, work hard, and earn what's out there.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit, maybe just what's on the horizon for Lieutenant Anderson. What do you got going on this year? What are you pushing forward to now? Maybe what are your goals for this year?
I don't know that I really have a set out goal. I've kind of, not that I've quit trying to do anything. It's still a challenge every day. I try to learn something every day. You get in a new situation at different points in times, and I try to learn and keep moving forward with that. And so in trying to just continue to, to better myself and do everything that I've done in the past, and not let this hold me back from anything. So just trying to spend some family time in the summer as coming up, and do some hiking and outdoors stuff with my family, and kind of get back to that part of life. Yeah. A little bit of normalcy. And we've kind of been able to settle in. Like, it's been about 10 months since we kind of been back to what I would call a little bit of normalcy in our life, if that is such a thing in today's world. Just trying to spend some family time together, and just trying to keep working hard, and try to do the best that I can, here for the department and the city, and share the kind of what I've learned, and keep trying to encourage those around me to do the right thing, and help reach out and help someone out.
Awesome. Well, it's an incredible story. It's just, if you haven't heard it before, the full story, please do go to our back through our videos on our Fishers Magazine page to that Disability Awareness Day. Brandon spoke in full, kind of shared his whole testimony. Incredible journey, and it's awesome to see coming from that to where you are today. So, thanks again for taking some time to join us today and hang out and talk. Comment below if you've seen this video or if you've heard Brandon's story, and just let him know. And thanks for his encouragement, and thank you all for joining us today. Thanks, guys.